All right. Welcome back. As you can see, it's still just me. Sam's not back yet. He'll be back Thursday. I'm going to be running class, which means this first section and your exam. So whoever's leaning against the wall, you got to move. Thank you. All right. So just a couple of announcements real quick. If you guys couldn't tell, exam 2 is happening today. Okay. Quick dialogue update. I know that A through G, you guys are like, oh my gosh, I need seats. There's nothing up. I'm waiting on dialogue times, and as soon as I get them, you guys will get them. It'll be a whole email thing. Don't worry about it. Just be a little bit more patient with me. Cool? Slay. And like I said, Sam will be back Thursday. I know you guys are going to miss me so much. So, on to the main part of class today.
Wait, Niche, before we begin, everybody laptop down.
Yes, please. I know you guys want to look over the exam materials one more time before we get started with class. Let me just tell you from firsthand experience, if you didn't read it, watch it, listen to it already, it's just not going to work for you.
Don't make me come to you guys again. Laptop down, everybody, iPad included.
So, to get started with class, today we have a guest joining us on Zoom. If you guys remember, the Thursday before class, you guys are supposed to watch a video with, Sam has like soul brothers. I have like uncles that I gained from working with Sam, from like with Uncle Basim coming to class. He's here on Zoom now based on what you guys watched during that class. If you guys have any questions, we'll be going around with a microphone to ask him. Just as a refresher, though, Basim is from Iraq. Erbil. His house was bombed with wrong information from the U.S. government. He came to the U.S. and our class for the first time in 2018. It was actually my class that helped him get here, that helped raise the money, and that's when I met him for the first time. But without further ado, can we get him up on the screen, please? Basim, are you there? Can he hear us? Hello, Basim, are you there? Can you hear us? I don't think he can. 1 second, please. Nope. Why did that go to the next thing? Where is that? Yeah, it should be same as hello, hello. No, that's not it. What's going on? Hello, hello. That's not it either. What is going on here? I know, we just tested it. Why is it not working? Hello, hello. Is it only going through like lav mics or something?
I tried.
He could hear us before.
That's what I.
Hello, hello. Yeah, that's not an option. Hang on, guys. We're figuring it out. Why is this not working? This has literally never happened before. Hello, hello, hello. That's not it. Hello, hello, hello. Try another microphone. Hello, hello. I don't know what we're gonna do if this doesn't work. I don't know what's happening. No, we're not getting any audio through. Okay. We're gonna try this on our on a different computer, guys. So whoever is leaning against the lights on the back of the wall, please stop. issue? That's also not working. There it is. Join first and then hit it.
In progress.
Ooh, okay. Hello, hello. Basim, can you hear us? There you are. Perfect. Sorry, we couldn't hear you on the other side. Perfect. Everyone say hi to Basim. So, like I said, Basim is here to answer any questions that you guys have about him, his story, anything that you guys have coming up from class that you watched before break. Cool? All right, starting off. Anyone have a question just straight up? Please have a question. Great. I guess we're going to go with the pre-recorded questions that I gave to you, Basim.
Okay.
Can you pull them up or are you trying to figure it out still?
Let me pull them up from your chats. We figured this would happen. Okay. So the first question, what was...
Oh, we can't hear you. Hold on. I'm so sorry. We're trying to figure this out.
I'm gonna use those anyways.
Hold on, guys. We're still working it out.
We might as well just read it out loud.
Okay, I have the questions in my hand right now. Just leave it on that screen and we'll be fine, all right? Okay. I have a list of questions since you guys don't have anything. So, okay. So, awesome. The first question I'll ask you and you can just answer. What is a memory from your youth living in Iraq prior to the invasion of Kuwait?
So I was born to a family of five, my dad, my mother, me, my brother, my sister. I was born in 1960. The best memory that I have of Iraq was me and my friends going out during spring, summer vacation. And we have a street on the riverbank, and we will spend all evening on that street and have dinner and come back home. So spending time with my friends was the best thing that I really remember before the invasion of Kuwait.
Can you guys tell I didn't prepare follow-up questions? Okay. Thank you. What is your favorite memory of your family before ISIS invaded? And before you answer, anyone at any time can raise your hand with a question. You do not have to sit here with my pre-recorded ones.
So we used to live with my parents in their house, and in 1998, we moved to our homes, me and my late brother. So we had like a schedule every Saturday morning. We will go get breakfast and go spend the whole day at my parents' house. My mom and dad will come to our house on a Friday because the Friday is an off day for us in Iraq, Friday and Saturday. So the best memory that we have, we were spending time with my parents, either at my house, my brother's house, or my parents' house, and our kids will have really good time playing in their grandpa house.
Thank you. We have a question from Irvin.
Hello, Basim. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
I know that I am well, thank you. I know that you've been to this country a couple of times, most recently a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear what your impression is of Social 119 students.
Okay, so let me tell you a background about myself. I came to the United States in 1980, stayed for 8 years. I went to college here, graduated at Western Michigan, and went back home. So I've been around American students for 7, 8 years. When I started talking to Sam after his TEDx talk, I started Skyping into Social 119 around 2014, I believe, and 2015. And then when we stopped after the bombing of my house, we stopped in 15 and 16. And then my first time in person at Thomas was in 2018. It was a scary experience for me standing in front of 750 students. It wasn't easy, but Sam made it easy for me. My impression of the students at Social 119, they are really friendly. They want to learn. They have so many questions, and later when I became involved with wording conversation, that experience led to more of you guys coming to Iraq over Zoom, talking to our students at 5 locations in Iraq. Some of you will join our students after spring break in dialogues. Sadly, the dialogues have been cut down drastically. Last year we had 130 dialogues with Wing, with over 130 dialogues over 5 sites in Iraq, University of Mosul, 2 sites, Duhok, Erbil, and Najaf. But this year we have been forced to really cut down drastically. We have 10 dialogues only. When you go into dialogue, you will notice that the Iraqi students are eager to talk to you, tell you about Iraq, and vice versa. So for me, bringing Social 119 into Wing was a dream of mine to bridge our students with you guys, bring 2 different mindsets, a US and an Iraqi mindset, and which is very important, really.
I also wanted to ask you a question. Regarding this, because a lot of the Americans here, we don't really quite understand what it's like to be to live in Middle East or any around the Iraqi area. What are some of the most like common mistakes that people have, like regarding people from Iraq, from Americans?
We talked about security issues, and people are afraid of visiting Iraq. And Sam in 2018 visited me. 2018, spent Christmas with Laura here. And so there's a myth that Iraq is not secure. Iraq is very safe. You can go around. We have so many visitors from Europe, from the US, go all over Iraq, especially Mosul, Baghdad, area of Kurdistan where I'm staying, Erbil, Duhok, Suleimania. So I encourage you to go out and travel and figure out for yourself. I have a couple of students from the Netherlands who are visiting in November, and they have the same questions, but now they're encouraged to come and visit. So if you don't go out and visit, you will you'll still have ideas that might be wrong. So just experience.
I also think that some people might be too scared to visit Iraq or Iran or any of the Middle Eastern any countries of in the Middle East. Do you have any advice or any sort of tip that you want to give to the students here?
You know, in any area, there are safe places and there are unsafe places. Like, for example, for me, in Turkey, in Istanbul, when I visited the first time, I met some Turkish friends, and they said, listen, don't go into the street after 10. Don't visit this alley after midnight. So you have to be vigilant. There are places that are unsafe, but most of the country is safe, and you can just experience yourself.
Let's fix the lights real quick. Can you stand up when you ask your question so Basim can see you a little better? She's getting herself together, I promise. She's there.
Hi.
Hi.
First of all, I want to say thank you for sharing this story with us. And I want to ask you, if you could share a message with people who have never gone through what you have, what would you want them to know?
You mean through the bombing of my house and the losing of my loved ones? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Well, it's a feeling that I do not wish upon my worst enemy. It's not easy, but having people in my life who I will gladly say that Sam is one of them. He guided me, he took my hand, and my faith as a Muslim, reading the Quran, taking out of my faith on how to live a life of when I lose somebody. So it took me at least a year and a half to get back on my feet. But the good thing is that I channeled my sad feeling into a constructive path, not hating, not trying to do revenge, but after I came to the United States in 2018, and after the published article about me on the New York Times, and I became acquainted with so many journalists, so many lawyers, and now I'm serving on the board of an organization called Civic Center for Civilians in Conflict, and I channel my experience of what I went through, trying to help the people in Iraq, in Mosul especially, who lost their loved ones, who lost their homes during ISIS liberation. So doing a good thing is really helping me stay focused of what I need to continue doing as long as I can to help people who have no mean of making their story reach, let's say, the US, Europe, anywhere. So I'm becoming an advocate of the victims of wars in Iraq and other locations.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We got another friend asking a question from class.
Hi, how's it going? My question is, at the time, how did you handle feelings of wanting revenge? And if you did have those feelings, what prevented you from doing something like joining a violent resistance?
For 3 months after the bombing and after leaving Mosul, going to Turkey for my operation and going back to Baghdad, I never had an idea of revenge. All I wanted to know is why. I wanted an answer of why my house was bombed until I received an answer that it was bombed because it was based on false intelligence and false drone observation of the farm that we lived in. So my main focus was to know why and clear my name because my name was tarnished, that I was an ISIS member and my family was considered ISIS members because the footage that was shown on YouTube and was there for like 6 weeks that they bombed VBID, which means car manufacturing for manufacturing bombs and suicide cars. So I wanted to clear my name first, and I wanted an answer, and I got the answer. Revenge, I never wanted revenge. I never wanted revenge.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I also wanted to ask another question. Because a lot of us Americans living here, we never really had to interact with a lot of warfare conflict. And I wanted to ask, like, what it's like to live in a volatile environment.
It's first of all, it's nerve-wracking because you don't know what's happening the next day. If you're familiar of what's happening in the region with Gaza, with Lebanon, with Hezbollah, with Syria, Iraq is in the middle of it all, and I'm afraid that Iraq will be caught in the middle of any operation against Iran. And really, this is what's bothering me and what's troubling me. I wish nothing happens, but things escalate very rapidly in a volatile situation. And I hope we will be safe in Iraq because we've had our shares before. We've had this 8 years war with Iran from 79 till 88. And then we had the Kuwait invasion. And then we had the American invasion, 2003. So we cannot afford to be involved in any more armed conflicts. We really cannot.
Hi, I was just wondering, earlier you mentioned the different mindset from people from Iraq versus people from America, and I was just wondering if you could further explain what you meant by that.
Well, let me tell you, the American, they are very close to where they live. Many of you probably, you never visited another state. I know many students, I've met many students who have never left Pennsylvania, or probably they went to Michigan, Ohio. Nobody has been further down the road in the United States. This is, plus you are not aware because the location of the United States is so far, being a continent outside of war zones, Middle East, Africa, Ukraine now, Iran, Yemen, you are too far. So you are not aware of what's happening outside of your country. Well, this has to change. You have to be more involved and know what's happening outside of your country because it's important. After all, it's a small world, and one day you might be visiting that country, and you have to know at least few things about that country that you will be visiting. I encourage you to go out, visit, travel. This is the best way for you to get out of your mindset and get involved with other cultures, other people, other religions. That's my advice.
There's one more that I also wanted to ask because Iraq, unlike America, you were talking about America being separated so far away from the rest of the world. What is it like to have so many surrounding countries around you and having interacted with like many different foreign people? Unlike Americans, we usually just meet Americans with Americans because we're so isolated off.
Yeah, you know, Iraq being like it's a bridging country, especially down south with the shrines in Karbala and Najaf, and we have millions of Shia pilgrims coming into Iraq from all over the world. Same in Mecca, in Saudi Arabia. Every Muslim from all over the continent will come visit. So you meet other people, you meet other cultures. Before the 2003, Iraq was a closed country. We didn't have so many nationalities living and working in Iraq. All we had probably was Egyptians who came during the Iran-Iraq war in the 80s and to replace the Iraqi workers who were soldiers at the front. But after 2003, when Iraq became more open to other cultures, we have so many nationalities living, working in Iraq. Like here in Erbil especially, I know so many French, Italians, Americans of course, Spanish, Lebanese. So Iraq became more open to other cultures and people got to know Iraq more after 2003.
All right, we have one last question, then we're going to get started with our exams and such.
Hello, I hope you're doing well. My question is, what would you say is the most helpful things that helped you to get accepted and adapt to the new situation in Iraq after the first time you came?
And what is the exact feeling that you felt for the first time coming back home after everything that happened?
Well, when I returned back home in 2016, I think January of 2016, and at that time I was on walkers for because I had a broken hip, and I was on walkers for 6 months, and I rarely left home. But then I came to Erbil. My older friends started to come back and visit me. My first time in Mosul was 2017 when we visited to go to the farm where our houses were to be with the photographers from the New York Times, and that was mixed feelings for me because the city has been destroyed, and I stood in the street. You know, it's so difficult to be in a city that you were born in and you spent all your life in, and the demographic of the city was so changed that you get lost in your own city. And I started crying. And the journalist who was with me, she said, "Why are you crying?" I said, "I'm crying because I'm lost in my own city." So going back to Mosul, I still find it difficult for me to go back to Mosul, and especially to the area where our farm is, because memories start coming back to me, and I really don't want to get hurt again. And that's the only reason I'm still in Erbil and not going back to Mosul.
Thank you, Basim. Everyone, thank you. Give a hand to Basim.
Thank you, guys. Good luck with your quiz. Thank you, Danish. Say hi to everybody. Bye-bye.
Ramadan Mubarak. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.